Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to another edition of American Truck Simulator. I do apologize that it's been about a week or so since you've had a truck sim video in the rotation. I must admit that I've gotten a bit carried away with the new map with Green River and kind of getting everything wrapped up with Midtown USA, and of course slowly but surely getting things wrapped up on Tazewell County and just a lot of other things going on in my world. And so I've been kind of putting American Truck Sim and Euro Truck Sim a little bit on the back burner, but they are alive and well, and we are here in a Kenworth W900, and we are going to be hauling owner-operator for the CR England company. And I'm not sure if we have hauled for this particular company or not, but I sort of figured with a red and white truck we would go with kind of a red and white themed trailer just to kind of keep things a little bit unique. And no, we don't want to cancel our job. No, we want to start our vehicle. So there we go. All right, so we are going to be running from Phoenix, Arizona over to Barstow, California, there, as our little information HUD there says to us, for us. So let's go ahead and get that back over on the map. We'll remove the parking brake, get ourselves in gear, and remove the parking brake and slowly ease out of the parking spot here. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I've got to say that I hope you all are having a much better day or a much better afternoon than I had today. In the real world, this is the 17th of April, and I will tell you just a little bit more about the world that I have. I want to make sure that I don't take that reefer off of that other trailer there, and I believe we have cleared that just fine. Let's see how we're looking here. I think we need to back up just a smidge and try this a little bit better approach getting out of here. Some of these spots are awfully tight, as I'm sure you are well aware, because I'm sure you guys all pretty much also enjoy the world of Truck Sim, whether it be American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator 2, and especially on ATS, some of these job spots are really tight, and of course the traffic is pretty crazy. All right, every now and again you get a courteous driver, and they will basically help you out by stopping and allowing for you to go ahead and pull out. So that was quite the busy intersection there, and I actually did not get our screenshot, so I will try that again here momentarily. Anyway, as I said before, I really hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'm going to tell my story here in just a few minutes, and it is my story, and I am sticking to it there. But let's see, can we get across this highway? We should be able to. That is, if we can get a break. All right, well, sometimes you just have to bluff these guys, and you just have to get your nose out there in the lane a portion of the ways if you can catch some of the slower moving vehicles where they won't run into you, and they will stop, and they're awfully again, they're awfully courteous. So a few things I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on. If you've been following some of the news with American Truck Simulator, then you are most likely well aware that the open beta has been released, and I'm kind of looking over with my eyes there. Let me turn off my track IR so I don't make you sick. It is 1.3.1 open beta, and it's got a whole lot of neat features that are going to be coming down the pike there. Now, this is not 1.3.1 beta. I have opted not to participate in the beta, open beta this time around. There's a lot of other YouTubers that are obviously doing things with the open beta out there and everything, and so if you're really interested in seeing some of that stuff, maybe go check out some of those other channels. I ran into some problems one of the last times that I installed the open beta, and it probably was related to a mod, and I had disabled the mods because obviously I know that most of the mods will not work with the open betas. As a matter of fact, most of the mods don't work very soon after the update has been made to SCS, until those modders can basically get caught up with all that they need to do to work their magic to make those mods compatible. And of course, we love our modders, both whether they're farm sim or truck sim or whatever. And looks like we've got a John Deere combine over there. That's a nice looking piece of kit there for sure. Anyway, so 1.3.1 beta is out, and I'm going to set my cruise control here and get on up to a comfortable speed there. And a few things that are part of that beta: we're getting some new trailers. That's one of the things that's part of it, a belly dump trailer, I believe. So that's going to be kind of cool. And it looked like there was a street sign floating in the air back there. The other thing that we're getting is power and air lines. So if we kind of look back, if I can get back here without crashing, you see that we don't have any air lines or any power lines connected between the semi and the trailer. That has been sort of a little bit of an immersion breaker for a lot of us that would like to see those. Now, of course, I would certainly like to have the ability to have manual attach. I mean, that is something that we have in Farm Sim. Very, very cool. I don't use it a whole lot in Farm Sim, but I have used it occasionally, the manual attach mod. It's very cool. Of course, we can't do that in ATS because we can't really get out of our vehicles and walk around. Where we can go outside of the cab if we want to, but it's not really an open world like Farm Sim is, where you can sort of set out on foot and explore. If we could get out of our truck here, we would probably not walk very far before we would actually run off the edge of the map. From what I understand, the map is really just very, very small in size, and everything kind of gets loaded as you drive down the highway. That's kind of how I understand it to function, but there's really not a way for us to get out of the cab, and that is kind of unfortunate, because I would really like to have the ability to walk around just a little bit, if anything, for the immersion and the realism factor of stepping out of our truck and walking and inspecting a parking zone, taking a look at where things are. I watch a lot of real life YouTube videos from time to time, and I even watch some some truck training type videos, just to kind of see how it's being done nowadays from the time that I went through and got my CDL and everything. And one of the rules, or one of the suggestions that a lot of these driver trainer types will provide is, basically get out and look at your situational awareness and everything, examine where obstacles are, especially if they are in your blind spot areas and such, and do that. And so that would be nice if that was a feature. Now, of course, I don't have the desire to get out of my truck and walk for a half mile or a mile or whatever. I don't really care about that, but I would think that within, let's say, 250 yards, 300 yards or something within the circumference of your truck would be acceptable. And I think that would be, the immersion and everything, I think would be awfully high with that, and that would certainly be cool to do. Now, the other feature that we have coming is we have a new road that is California 120. It goes through Yosemite National Park. Now, of course, this is getting a little bit of, I would say, maybe some negative, not necessarily negative press, but I know that some of the YouTubers that I routinely watch that do truck sim content, almost truck sim content, as a almost as a sole topic, are kind of negative towards the new highway, the new road through Yosemite, because actually that road is closed off to vehicles over, I think, 45 feet or something. I think if I remember correctly from the sign that I saw, I think vehicles that are over 45 feet in length are banned from driving on the road. So obviously we're pulling a 53-foot reefer behind us, and we've got, I don't know, 20 something feet of truck and chassis and everything. So we're well over the 45-foot limit there for that particular highway. Yet SCS put that in the map and everything, and so a lot of people are saying, well, you know, you've been promising us more trucks, more different types of trailers. Of course, they're delivering with one of those different types of trailers now, the belly dump trailer. You are very, very slow at rolling out map DLCs, because we've actually, you know, since ATS came out 2 years and a couple of months ago, we've actually only had one map DLC released, and that was New Mexico. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, Jerry, what about Arizona? You forgot about Arizona. Jerry, you forgot about Arizona. Arizona, I believe, was not really intended to be a DLC, I think, and I have actually heard from, not from the horse's mouth, obviously not from SCS, but many people have said that they more or less believed and had heard that Arizona was actually supposed to be part of American Truck Sim when it came out in 2016, that was just supposed to be one of the 3 maps that was available, so California, Arizona, and Nevada. But because Arizona was maybe the map development for that was running a little bit behind, they opted to essentially delay that, go ahead and put ATS out with Nevada and California, and then give us all Arizona afterwards. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, I don't know. As I said, I have not heard any of this from the horse's mouth, but I do know that a lot of folks are a little bit upset that SCS would spend their time to create something, a road in Yosemite National Park that trucks aren't even supposed to be driving down. And just to remind everyone, what is this game called? This game is called American Truck Sim. So I can understand their frustration, I suppose. My philosophy or my opinion on this is Yosemite is a very beautiful place. It's one of my favorites. It's not the top 4 or 5 national parks. Some stage several weeks ago, I was talking about the fact that, you know, I had wanted to become a park ranger, and I had rattled off what some of my top parks were. Yosemite, I don't believe, was one of those that I had indicated that I would enjoy working at, but it is a very beautiful place, and it's probably, as far as national parks go, especially in California, it's probably my favorite of them, and I very much enjoy the time that I've spent there as a young person and even as an older person. So it's a very beautiful highway, and regardless of whether or not trucks are allowed there in the real world, sometimes we just need to essentially step back, relax, take a chill pill, and go, you know something, yes, this sort of breaks the immersion just a little bit, but my gosh, look at the scenery that we're able to experience and enjoy. So that's my philosophy, that's how I look at it, and I'm okay with the fact that SCS spent some time to put that road into the update that's going to be coming out, 1.3.1, and make that all available to us. So let me pay attention here just a little bit, because we are stuck behind some really slow vehicles. Looks like that dump truck up there is just causing us all sorts of problems. So let me put the pedal to the metal here and get this thing wound up. And this W900 is, I forget what engine I have in this thing, but it's pretty much capable of moving this truck and this trailer on down the highway, at least fast enough to almost guarantee us a speeding ticket, and I do need to be a little bit observant of that. But anyway, that is the case for those things. Now, I think there was one more feature, and I'm just going to kind of get on a straightaway here where I can look over at my notes. And let's see. Oh, improved mirror rendering. So that's kind of the last of the main bullet point items that I sort of was able to ascertain from the information from some of the videos that I watched of some of the guys that was pointing out the patch and everything. The key points of the patch is improved mirror rendering. So that's going to be kind of cool. I think the mirrors are actually, especially maybe those spot mirrors, are supposed to appear to be a little more concave, perhaps, or I guess that is the correct word to use. I think that's how they're supposed to appear with the update. So time will tell. We'll see what all that is going to mean once we basically can get our hands on that update. And of course, I will make sure that I install it just as soon as it's available, to download. And hopefully the mods and everything, of course, coast to coast map may be a little while, or maybe there's not any impact to coast, especially since we're not really messing with anything that coast to coast touches, as far as I'm aware. So we'll just see how that goes and apply it. I'm not sure what's really happening with ETS2 at the moment. I haven't had a lot of time in the last few days to really research ETS2 stuff. I've been mainly kind of looking at the 1.3.1 update for ATS to kind of figure out what that's going to mean for us, for me, for you, for anyone else that is paying attention. So anyway, that is all of that. So yeah. So today, my wife had a doctor's appointment, kind of a follow-up. She had got a bit of a sinus infection, had kind of relapsed, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And for my long-term or long-time viewers, you guys know that my wife has had the occasional bout with sinus infections and everything over the last year and a half. And have had a couple of sinus surgeries and everything, so you are all aware of that. And so she might have got a little cold or something. I don't think either one of us have really been sick, but I think she might have got a little bit of an infection. And so we went to the doctor about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, and we've been going for follow-ups every couple of weeks. And so today, she's been feeling really good, really great and everything the last week and a half, I should say. So she had a follow-up doctor's appointment today, so we went to that, and that was all great and everything. And the doctor more or less said, he doesn't want to see her until, she basically needs to come back for whatever reason. So hopefully that will be quite a long time down the road. But anyway, so we were leaving, and for whatever reason, the wind is just really bad today. And again, this is the 17th of April. You guys are watching this video into May sometime, May 10th maybe, or something crazy like that. I'm that far ahead. But in any way, the wind has been clocked at up to 90 miles an hour. That's 90 in certain portions of Colorado. I think in the Denver area, we've had wind clocked in the 70 mile an hour range. Some buildings downtown have been damaged. They shut the airport down for a period of time, so no air traffic was coming in or going out today for several hours. Well, we were coming back from the doctor's appointment, and I was driving along, and I'm a fairly cautious driver. I will admit that I do often go a few miles over the speed limit, especially on the open highway, but I don't I don't really speed in the city, down the city streets and stuff like that. And there's good reason for that, and there's multiple reasons for that. One is I do try to abide by the laws within the city areas and everything, because there's people walking down the sidewalks and bicyclists, and also we have this issue with our streets. Our streets are really bad, and will be until early summer, whenever the street crews can do their repairs and everything. So we're driving along, and I come up to a intersection, and I stop, and it's just basically a stop sign, and I'm about to turn right onto a pretty busy road. And so I'm using some caution and everything, and I just sort of ease. I come to a complete stop. I accelerate and I get ready to, there's sort of an acceleration lane to get onto the street, and that acceleration lane turns into a bus lane. So I'm pulling onto the street, and again, it's a fairly busy street, especially it's about 4:30 in the afternoon, so rush hour is starting. And I am accelerating onto the street rather slowly, probably 10, 15 miles an hour at this point. And all of a sudden, I feel this jolt. I mean, this collision. Okay, so no, don't worry, I didn't hit anything. Somebody hit me. And I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know what she was doing. I can't, oops, that's not right. We need to go here. I'm not paying attention. But after I sort of realized what happened, I looked in my mirror, like within seconds of the impact, and I could tell that she was talking on her cell phone. Okay, so and I could tell she was a young person, a millennial, probably in her early 20s. And so I pull over on the side of the street, kind of in the bus lane. There's the shoulder and everything. So I pull over, put on my four-way hazards and everything, and I step out of the car. She pulls up behind me. She gets out, and I say something about, I ask her, "Are you okay?" She says she is, and I said, "You hit me," and I said, "I also happen to notice that you were speaking on your cell phone." So I was a little agitated at this point. Once I found out that she was okay, I then became a little bit agitated, although not necessarily noticeably agitated. I was in check of my feelings and everything. Well, so I said, "Hey," I said, "Do you have insurance, your proof of insurance and your driver's license? Let's just exchange information, and that's fine. No need to necessarily get the cops involved." Well, she could not produce proof of insurance. She had a whole stack of insurance cards in her car, and I've been guilty of this as well, that these proof of insurance cards kind of sometime collect in your car. You get 3 or 4 of them in there, and of course she's upset because she's nervous, and she's young and everything. Plus I've just more or less busted her for violating not only the law of not running into me, but the other law of not speaking on your cell phone or texting while driving. And so she's a little bit upset and everything, and so she kept handing me these cards while I would scan through the insurance card, and it would be expired, and I'm like, "Look, you have not produced a insurance card that is valid." And I said, "I'm going to call the police." She's like, no, please don't call the police. Let's exchange information." And I'm like, "I'm willing to exchange information with you, but you have to essentially provide me you have to be able to provide me proof that you have insurance. I'm not going to just take your word that you're going to email me, or you're going to mail me, or something, or we'll meet up later and settle this." I said, I have no guarantees that you're going to do this." And she kept saying, "Well, you can trust me, you have my word." And I'm like, I'm trying to explain to her that yeah, I understand that, and I wish that we lived in a society where we could sort of practice ways that were popular 25 to 50 years ago, where a person was good for what they said they were going to do and would do what they said they were going to do and everything. But I said, we don't live in that world anymore. As I'm trying to get my speedometer or my cruise control to engage here, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where basically, nobody trusts anybody, and you are unable to provide me insurance. So here's yet a third law that you've broken by operating a vehicle, driving a vehicle without a valid Colorado insurance card. And so I'm like, I'm going to call the police. And she's begging me, please don't call the police. So that right there is telling me that most likely she either doesn't have insurance, or she's already had so many fines and violations or whatever that essentially, she can't afford to get in trouble or whatever. So anyway, I go ahead and I call the police because, again, I'm not going to run the risk that I'm going to get burned with this, because while she may not have insurance, and at the end of the day I may still be left to have my insurance pay for the damages and everything. But at least if she's driving without insurance, and the fact that she ran into me, and the fact that she was talking on her cell phone, she's at least going to get a ticket out of this, and I'm not trying to be cruel, heartless, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just being sensible. So finally she comes up with an idea. She's like, well, let me call my boyfriend, and my boyfriend will bring the proof of insurance. And I'm like, okay, well, I tell you what, whoever shows up first, if he provides the proof of insurance and that satisfies me, that's fine. Or if the police show up first, then we're going to let the police handle it. So her boyfriend shows up about 2 or 3 minutes before the Denver Police Department arrive. He has a bill. He has an insurance bill. Now, in Colorado, we have very specific proof of insurance cards. They're all formatted more or less the same way. They basically state that this is proof of insurance as required by law and all this kind of stuff. And so he brings me basically a bill that is due on the 22nd, I believe, so like in 5 days from now. I have no idea whether or not this bill has been paid or anything like that. I think we're going into CVS here. So anyway, long story short, very, very long story short, and my apologies for it being such a long story. Long story short, the Denver Police Department shows up, and they basically take our statements and all this kind of stuff, and the police officer essentially writes her up with a citation, provides me her information, so I at least have valid proof that she does have insurance. But of course she's getting a ticket because she has broken the law on a couple of different points. And I told him, I told the officer, I said, look, I said, I feel for her. I kind of feel sorry for her and everything. But I said, she's obviously a young person. And I said, she needs to learn a lesson with this. And part of that lesson is that, she needs to not be speaking on the cell phone while she's driving, because this could have ended up a lot worse than what it was. So anyway, I am really struggling trying to get this 53-foot reefer in here to this little convenience store. So let me try to do this a little bit differently here and try to get this thing in here, hopefully. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I was a little, maybe could, and I would have been, like I said, I would have been perfectly willing to essentially allow her to exchange information with me if there we go, just barely missed the pole. If she would have had valid information for me, something other than a bill that was showing that it was due in 5 days or whatever, and who knows if she was going to pay it and all this kind of stuff. So bottom line is that my SUV is it's going to have a replacement bumper on the back, most likely, and it'll have to go in the shop because that's the only vehicle that my wife and I have, and I'll have to get a rental and all this kind of stuff. So definitely I'm going to be sort of out with having to deal with all of this kind of stuff, and it's like, well, at least she's going to get a ticket. So anyway, let's see if we're going to get our parking spot here. Let's see how far we are off here, what our situation is. Looks like we are off pretty bad here, so let me try backing up again and lining back up, and I will just kind of be quiet here a little bit. That pole's getting awfully close. That's the only thing I dislike about these convenience stores are that there's just not a whole lot of room, and I understand that you know, a lot of folks can maneuver their 53-foot reefers and everything around in these things quite easily. I'm not one of those guys. I struggle backing up a tractor with a tipper on it, and certainly do the same with Truck Sim. But anyway, hey, it's the journey, right? It's all about the journey. All right, we're going to try this again, and hopefully we're a little bit better lined up, and we'll get our job well done message. There we go. Cargo is ready to unload. T, and we're looking for excellent. Hopefully we'll get excellent. There we go. Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We're about 31 minutes into the video here. I do appreciate you coming along for the ride and listening to my story. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if I was, overzealous, if I should have just taken her word for it, or what you would have done in that situation, because I think I did what was in my best interest. I was trying to look out for the best interest of myself, and making sure that everything was, all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed and everything. And I'm not a vindictive person. It wasn't about her getting a ticket. It was really just about the fact that I have to do certain things. I have to be responsible, and I have to have insurance, and I have valid insurance in my car, and I have to have all of these things. And so, well, everyone else needs to do the same thing, in my opinion. So again, thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. Take very good care of yourself and also of each other. And we'll be back again here in a week and a half or so for another ATS video, and hopefully next week for a Euro Truck Simulator 2. Thanks again for watching, and I'll speak to you down the road. Bye-bye.